On this episode of PitchChris, I'm going to talk to you guys about if you're an actor, where is the best place to live inside Atlanta? If you're a first-time filmmaker and you have no money and no contacts, where do you go? And what in the world is the difference between a producer and an executive producer? Hi, and welcome to episode 11 of PitchChris, where you guys ask me questions about the entertainment business, and I'm going to answer them for you. To ask me a question, find me on social media at DeBlasio, #PitchChris, and I'll be happy to answer the questions that you have. This first question comes from Ben. Let's see what Ben has to say.
Hi, my name is Ben. I'm an actor who's planning on moving to Atlanta in a few months to pursue my acting career professionally. My question is, what is a good place to move in Atlanta in regards to the film industry? And also, what's a good way to network, get connections with fellow actors, filmmakers, and also agents? Thank you.
Hey Ben, that was a great question, and we're happy to have you come into Atlanta. So there's a couple of things that you're going to want to know, and there's two major things, ITP and OTP. What is that? Now, inside the perimeter, which is everything that's inside Atlanta, so it's going to be more city life, more clustered together, and then outside the perimeter, which is more of the country life, I guess you could say. The farther out you go, the more space you're going to have. So it really depends on your preference of living. I do know, however, that Midtown, a lot of creatives are clustered around Midtown, so that might be a good area. Ponce Market is a good area to live around if you want to be around creatives. So those are the two things you got to know, but one of the most important things, traffic. No matter where you go in Atlanta, I love Atlanta, but you are always going to find traffic. So it's very similar to the 405 if you ever spent time out in LA. But yeah, the traffic is something that you definitely want to take in mind wherever you live. The second part of your question is about networking. So there's a couple of things out here, a lot of great organizations like the GPP, Georgia Production Partners. They'll be able to connect you. They have quarterly events and sometimes monthly events that you can attend. You want to get to know about the Atlanta Film Festival, which happens every year out here. It will connect you with a lot of people in the business that are locally out here. So hope that helps. We look forward to having you come here to Atlanta, Georgia.
Hello, Chris, in Atlanta as well. This is Jay Alexander with Day in the Life of Jay Alexander. Also, this is PitchChris, and this is a question for you as well. Being in the industry for several years, I've been in the entertainment industry as well. Now that I have my film and production company, what would be the best way of getting funding for that particular company, sir?
Hey Jay, thanks for your question. So the funding question. So there is a lot of different answers to this question because there's a lot of different ways you can source funding. So I'm going to start with one in particular. Let's say that you absolutely have no connections. You have no banking connections, investor connections, whatever it may be. Start with yourself. What money can you come up with to get this thing going? Now, the thing is look around maybe your house, right? There might be some certain things that you haven't used in a while. What about that treadmill that's sitting in your basement that you haven't used in a long time, right? Start with that. You go on Craigslist, start selling things. Speaking about Craigslist, another thing that people don't really know is Craigslist has a whole free section. People actually are giving away stuff for free that if you go on and you pick up that stuff, you can then go on Facebook and then sell those products on Facebook and start raising money that way. It's money that you didn't have to come out of pocket with. All you're doing is you're just picking up a product and then selling it on the internet. So that is a way that you can start getting some seed funds. If you absolutely know nobody, have no connections, and your friends and family aren't willing to give you any money, start with yourself because you're going to be the best bet in getting this project raised because you have the biggest heart behind it in getting this thing funded. And you're going to do what it takes, or else you should do what it takes to get your film funded. So it's a couple of ways that you might be able to get started in raising those initial dollars.
Hi, Chris. What's the difference between a producer and an executive producer?
Hey, that's a great question, and a lot of people actually have been recently asking, what is the difference between these two people, right? Well, a producer is somebody that has been in the project from the very beginning. They're the ones that are making sure that people show up on set. They're making sure that the project actually gets completed, and they're involved in a lot of the day-to-day stuff. Whereas an executive producer is somebody that could be the investor, or it could be the person that connects the producer to the investor. Or a lot of times they're dealing with legal, or they're bringing other added value. They have relationships with A-list talent that help get the project funded. So those are the differences between the two, where you have a day-to-day and you have somebody that actually is able to support the financing and legal aspect of filmmaking. Great question. So that's all that we have for today. Thank you for sending in all of your questions. Make sure you send them in video format, under 20 seconds or less. You can find me on social media at Chris DeBlasio, #PitchChris, and I'll be happy to answer all the questions that you guys have.